and Crooked Joe head up the worst administration in the history of our country by far. He's the worst president in the history of the USA. But what they did to Biden, and I'm no fan of his, but you know what the rumor is? He likes me more than her. Can you believe that? He likes me. He likes me more.
He likes me. He likes me more. Much more. Who doesn't like me more? Hey, I've got some frightening news for you. Oh, maybe it's not frightening. 4 days until Election Day. Kooky chew. Boy, all this stuff up in the air. I hope it all lands safely. We can hope, we can pray. I'm signing the cross. Happy Friday to you and welcome. The Democrats, they're just busy 24 hours a day being crazy, aren't they? Violent, nutty, accusatory. It's a big word for Democrats, I know. What do we have on the docket today? The looming election itself. Our stories page for the day. You will be held accountable. Ohio charges 6 non-citizens with illegally voting. What? What's that? Michigan has a Chinese national who registered to vote and then voted. And the Democrats there are saying, well, we're going to count his vote. You know, the Chinese national voted, and so that vote is going to be counted because the Democrats are not on the side of democracy. They have to destroy democracy in order to save it. They're not liberals. They're the left. Amazing stuff. You see, a young Democrat in Orlando shot 8 people at a Halloween costume party last night in an area of Orlando where there are a lot of clubs. 17-year-old shot 8 people, killed 2 of them, wounded 6 more, as you might imagine. And he was looking forward to being a Democrat. Only 17 now, but they're, this is how they raise them. They raise them to be like that. Isn't it amazing? Yes, it is. We've got all kinds of news. President Trump under attack. What? Under attack? I can't believe that. And they got this Mark Cuban, a Democrat billionaire who is a proxy for Kamala Harris because they're the party of billionaires, anti-American billionaires. It's just amazing stuff. His name is Mark Cuban. You'd think that he'd be anti-communist, but instead he's a handmaiden. It's another handmaiden's tale. I haven't heard him mention the handmaid or the handmaidens. They like to mention that. They haven't mentioned that recently. Surely that's got to come up real soon. But the Trump campaign is going on a women's tour with all kinds of great people, powerful, strong women, not like Mark Cuban says, the billionaire. He's a team owner. He did a quick interview with the people on The View yesterday. He actually did the interview from aboard his private jet just to show that he's a man of the people. He was coming live because of the patriarchy. You can do this sort of stuff because of America and capitalism. You can do this sort of thing. You can do a live shot from aboard your jet with your laptop hooked to the internet. And maybe if Elon Musk is involved, it'll be bouncing off of satellites and going to the criminals at The View, the crazy. Are they actually women? Are all of them? Have we checked? Because I know nobody wants to check, but amazing stuff. Trump's women, and he's got a women's tour coming. Trump's women's tour with Laura Trump and Sage Steele and race car driver Danica Patrick and great many more powerful and smart women. Not like the Democrats say. They just think that every woman is like Kamala, not intelligent and not serious and all that good stuff. But remarkable stuff. Last night on my Newsmax show, we had a panel of me plus 4, and among the plus 4, Mercedes Schlapp, a very smart and capable woman who was an official a senior official in the Trump White House, and also Hilton Beckham, wonderful, lovely lady, a very smart woman. Hilton Beckham, also an official in the Trump White House. And we've got this Democrat Party surrogate, the Kamala surrogate, billionaire Mark Cuban smearing and slandering all women. He's a sexist pig, obviously a misogynist. But when you're a Democrat, those words are never trotted out by the news media because the news media are, what's the word I'm searching for, Michael? Filth. They're filthy filth people is what they are. That's a fact. Amazing stuff. But I'm on Danica Patrick's side, the race car driver. I'm on the side of Sage Steele. I'm on the side of Laura Trump. I'm on the side of Mercedes Schlepp and so many more. I'm on the side of Hilton Beckham, wonderful woman. And the Democrats, they can go around smearing women. And the news media is fine with that because the news media is the most corrupt institution in America. It's tragic. It's sad. Our republic cannot function properly with a fourth estate as filthy and corrupt as the news media that we have, the fourth estate that we have. Amazing stuff. Also, fun thing, the son of Gerald Ford and the grandson of Gerald Ford, Republican president, World War II Navy vet, Gerald Ford. Two Democrat women tried to assassinate Gerald Ford while he was president because they've been violent forever, starting with the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln. He took the Democrat slaves away, so they murdered him, shot him in the head. They shot President Trump, winged his head too. And it's been going on a lot because the Democrats are very violent and they like shooting their political opponents in the head and jailing them too. It's kind of amazing stuff. But the son of Gerald Ford and the grandson of Gerald Ford have come out because turns out the daughter of Gerald Ford put out a statement earlier this week saying that she was supporting Kamala Harris. So the news media said, see, yeah, and then, minding his own business otherwise. Son of Gerald Ford comes out, grandson of Gerald Ford come out, and they've got something to say about Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And I've got some of that for you today, too. Amazing stuff. And you should know that migrants, that is to say armies, legions of illegal aliens, no, not legions of illegal aliens marching toward our southern border. Migrants are surging into U.S. ahead of election in case Trump wins. And you'll never guess, we got a whole bunch of them coming from what we call nations of interest, special interest nations, like places where there's a lot of radical Islamic jihadi terrorism, and large numbers coming from these special interest countries. And the Democrats and the media, but I repeat myself, are fine with that. The media doesn't report it. The Democrats say, shh, we're importing mass murderers to kill us because the Democrat Party is a suicidal death cult. It's like, what if the Reverend Jim Jones and the Jonestown people were in charge of the U.S. government? Kind of what we have. They self-immolate. They launch suicide attacks. How many suicide attacks by the Democrats now, Michael? We got Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill, New York City, against the police. Self-immolator in New York, 2 self-immolators in Washington, D.C., suicide attacks against police in Washington, New York, Dallas, Baton Rouge. And those are just the mass murder suicide attacks. Amazing stuff. Yes, sir. TV executive panics that Trump winning means the press has no influence anymore. Quote, mainstream media is dead. Yeah, thanks, pal. You should have been listening to my show for the last 15 years. Probably be ahead of where you are now. Amazing stuff. And have you seen the people campaigning with Kamala Harris? They've got they're twerking on stage and just crazy. They got. I think they have Nicki Minaj now, don't they? Have and they got Cardi B. They got Cardi B. Yeah, they got Cardi B. We love Cardi B here at the Chris Plant Show. She's pretty amazing stuff. And the Washington Post, they announced that they're not going to endorse Kamala Harris, the Democrat, for the presidency of the United States. And that means that they had to put nets up around the Washington Post building because they started throwing themselves out of windows and hurtling to the ground. And now the Washington Post is having to pay. They're paying on the internet. Now, they lost, $77 million last year. I think the centibillionaire Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post as a plaything so the Democrats would invite him to their parties because he's a total geek, and he wouldn't be invited anywhere otherwise. But the Washington Post is now paying to boost stories that are anti-Trump stories on the internet. And all you have to do is, I'm one of the few people, 250,000 people have dropped their Washington Post subscriptions since they announced that they're not endorsing Kamala, because those 250,000 people want a corrupt, biased, left-wing, radical, dishonest paper that is so slanted that they'll never hear anything but the party line. That's that's the goose-stepping Jonestown thing. They honestly, I'll line up over here for your cup of Kool-Aid. Wah, wah, wah. So the Post is now having to pay other entities on the internet to publish their stories that are "We hate Trump" stories. The paper is still full of them, but they're all "We love Kamala." Isn't Kamala? Oh, she's so intelligent stories. And then Trump said, and then they give a half sentence. What was he said? Oh, he's going to protect women whether they want to be protected or not, or something like that. And of course, it's a fragment of a sentence, but never mind that. They've got stories today where they use just a fraction of his sentence and try to demonize the fraction of the sentence. It's the old trick that they pull I've been talking about for years. They take what you've said, they change it till it's not what you've said, and then they attack you for what you didn't say. That's our news media. Filthy, rotten, stinking news media. Amazing stuff. They've been corrupting our elections for generations now. And they assume that they can keep doing that because you know how they are. Aren't they amazing? Yes, they are. Man, oh, Manischewitz. Trump says war hawk Liz Cheney should be fired upon in escalation of violent rhetoric against his opponents. That's a CNN headline. But what did Donald Trump really say? What did he actually say? This is the only words they put in quotation marks are the words war hawk, right? And all the Democrats are warmongering, military-industrial complex, trillions of dollars for the war effort, and they all fly private and live in mansions in the mountains in Colorado and things. But never mind that. And great stuff. J.D. Vance did an interview with Joe Rogan for 3 hours. Kamala Harris couldn't do that if she were being held hostage by Hamas, which would be kind of fun. J.D. Vance on Joe Rogan interview predicts that Trump will win, and this has got them really angry, the Democrats too. Trump will win the normal gay guy vote. The normal gay guy vote. And that has the Democrats, that has their panties in a wedge again, because I think they enjoy having their panties in a wedge, let's be honest. But the normal gay guy vote, and I believe that to be true. Every gay guy that I know is voting for Trump. That's because they're the normal gay guys. And there's a great producer at this radio station, wonderful guy. He's a gay guy, and he's voting for Trump. He flies the Trump flag on his boat on the Potomac River and counts the Democrats that flip him off for laughs, and he laughs and waves back at them, and it's hilarious. Got a great gay friend in Pennsylvania. He's voting for Trump. Every normal gay guy, and that's what J.D. Vance said. He said he's going to win, quote, the normal gay guy vote, right? And that has the left just spun up like nobody's business. But the J.D. Vance interview with Joe Rogan was epic. It was wonderful. It was great. Couldn't be more relaxed, more casual, more fun. It's normal people talking to each other about the things going on in the world and in our country today. Remember normal. Please try to remember normal, because it will be missed when it's gone forever. And the Democrats are working on that. Yeah, Mark Cuban, spokesman for Kamala Harris and the Democrats. Just the headline from the left-wing radicals at Politico just a few days ago. Mark Cuban shows Democrats what they've been missing because he's so great. He's such a great spokesman. And he comes out and says that all women are stupid and ignorant and you shouldn't hire them. Oh, wait, just Republican women and Trump women, but amazing stuff. Then strong, intelligent Republican women torch Kamala Harris supporter Mark Cuban for dismissive comments on The View from his private jet. Just amazing hypocrites. They couldn't be bigger hypocrites. Then Mark Cuban rushed out to try to clarify, like Joe Biden clarifying the garbage thing. By the way, anybody remember a band called Garbage? There's a band called, and it's kind of a fun band. They had some fun songs. Am I right? They had some good songs, right? Jasmine's nodding. She knows. They had some fun songs, Garbage. And maybe Joe Biden should invite him to the White House. That might be a good idea. Yeah, but Kamala's she's got Cardi B now and Glorilla. Glorilla is coming out for They got all the good celebrities, don't they? Amazing stuff. Yes, sir. And what would George Orwell say today? We are at 888-630-9629 and 9629. And what would Chuck Schumer say about anti-Semitism? Amazing stuff. What about a transgender, a man applying for a job at Hooters as a Hooters girl? That's a Democrat story to beat the band. 888-630-9625. I've got news on everything today. I got news on jaywalking. I've got Halloween news and trick-or-treat news. But first, let's go to the telephones and talk to the normal people. Let's go to Marty, calling from the great state of Wisconsin. Marty, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, Marty.
You're always talking about how ironic the Democrats are. Isn't it ironic that Mark Cuban is saying Donald Trump doesn't hang around smart, intelligent, strong women? Who's he hanging out with when he's saying this? He's hanging out with the most unintelligent, dumbest women on the planet on The View. Are you kidding me?
It is another example of no sense of irony, isn't it?
That's what you say. That's it. No sense of irony. Yeah.
And they prove it every day. And I'm always saying this to Michael Piercy, and I'm saying it to my best girl. I was like, I know they have no sense of irony, but do they have to prove it every day? And they really do. They prove everything I've been saying about them for years. They prove it every day. They're just, these people are mental. They shouldn't be allowed to vote, much less govern, for the love of God. There should be some kind of an IQ test or a citizenship test before you're treated like a normal citizen of the United States of America. They've got a Chinese guy voting in Michigan, and they're like, oh, yeah, but we're still going to count his vote. We know it's illegal, but we're going to count it anyway. And they got, a half dozen illegal voters over here. And, oh, yeah, we're going to count those. And in Washington, D.C., you don't have to be a citizen to vote because Democrats are in charge. And, I'm one of the things I'm looking forward to, Marty, on Tuesday is in Washington, D.C., it's election day here, too. And city council members are going to be reelected, probably all of them, including Trayon White, who thinks that the Jews make it snow in the wintertime and that the Rothschild family is going to take over cities because of, their control of the weather. And all of this is considered to be perfectly normal in the United States of America in 2024 because of the left and their information dominance. Where do you hear all this stuff I have coming up today, Marty? The most corrupt institution in the United States of America, the American news media. The jobs report, the monthly jobs report came out for October on jobs added by the American economy, the most powerful, prosperous economy in the world for generations now. And I love Democrats. Hey, we've got the strongest economy in the world. Like, yeah, we have since my grandfather was, wandering around looking at girls. Listen, the CNN fake headline, corrupt nicks that they are. I was laughing at their headline. And CNN headline, final jobs report before Election Day is likely to be a wild one. A wild one? That's a Marlon Brando movie. It's a, Black Rebels Motorcycle Club. But that's not important now. It's likely to be a wild one. Has anybody ever seen a wild jobs report before? And you click on the CNN headline and it says, messy, that's not a good first word for your jobs report. Messy October jobs report, muddied. It's muddied. That's not a good word either. By strikes, the labor unions going on strikes, and storms. Well, it's hurricane season and everything. Ahead of Election Day. So CNN is making lots of excuses just in the headline. You know that it's not going anyplace good when CNN is running for cover like this, holding on to their helmets. The U.S. economy added 12,000 jobs in October. 12,000. Shouldn't it be like 350,000 jobs? Wouldn't that be a better number? And also keep in mind that they like to revise the numbers downward later. The Biden administration has done a lot of that in the last few years. The Harris administration done a lot of that. They tell us, oh, we added 12,000 jobs. And then 2 months from now, on a Friday, they put out a one-paragraph press release at the Bureau of Labor Statistics say, oh, we're revising our numbers from last month downward. And we actually lost 40,000 jobs, even though we told you that we added. It's like the FBI crime statistics. Oh, no, crime is down everywhere. Crime is down. Now, they're not counting the crime in New York and Chicago and Baltimore and Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles because they're not reporting the numbers up to the federal government anymore. And then months later, the FBI came back just weeks ago now and said, oh, yeah, the crime numbers for 2023, they were all wrong. The numbers we gave you, crime wasn't down. Crime was actually up. Murders were up. Aggravated assaults were up. Illegal alien crime was up. But the government statistics they put out are very often a lie because it's the Soviet Union, that we're living in now. Just amazing stuff. It's the old Elena Gorakova. The rules are simple. They lied to us. We know they're lying to us. They know we know they're lying to us. But they keep lying to us, and we keep pretending to believe them. Soviet author Elena Gorakova in her book, A Mountain of Crumbs, talking about the Soviet Union. And the left is here now, and they are more Soviet than they are John F. Kennedy. That's for sure. They're more Soviet than they are Bill Clinton, although they're still sexual predators, most of them, but never mind that. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics said that the U.S. economy added 12,000 jobs in October. Look for that to be revised downward later on. Friday's report is the last significant piece of economic data before Election Day in the U.S. That's what CNN is reporting, in case you're wondering what country we're talking about. The report was expected to be unusually volatile. How is a jobs report unusually volatile? With 2 major hurricanes and a large number of striking workers. That's another Soviet word. We used to call people employees, but now we're all workers. Having a negative impact on the data. The economy remains the top issue for the majority of voters, and Republicans could seize on the low headline number. Why would they immediately turn to Republicans could seize on the low headline number, while the more favorable data could benefit Vice President Kamala Harris? This is what CNN, these are their bullet points on the top of the story. They're not in the news business. They're not journalists. It's just amazing. So, and left-wing Axios, job growth flatlines. That means that's what happens in the intensive care unit when somebody's dying. Unemployment stable. They try to put a positive nugget in there. Final pre-election reading. Just amazing. Wah, wah, wah. And the New York Fake Times. Final U.S. jobs report before election shows stalled growth. Stalled growth. That's not what the Democrats wanted to hear, and that means that's not what the news media wanted to hear, so they've got to spin it. Now, speaking of the Democrats and all their nuttiness, I don't know about where you live, but in Washington, D.C., a lot of people walk in traffic. A lot of people just walk out into the street like zombies. It's like the zombie apocalypse. But people would just walk out in front of you. In the middle of the block, traffic, it could be a 6-lane road like Wisconsin Avenue, a block from where we are now. And people will just walk out real slow. They can be looking at their phones. They can just be spacing out. They can be listening to music with earbuds. And they'll just walk into traffic. People all over the city just walk into traffic all the time. You got to look out for them or run them over. That's your choice. Pretty amazing stuff. And now New York has come up with a solution. And New York, this happens in New York all over the place too. And in New York, they've come up with a solution for all this. They've got a fix. They've got a great idea. And that is that they're going to make jaywalking, we call it jaywalking because, you kind of do a J shape when you're walking through an intersection. You get the walk sign to walk from, this side of the street to that side of the street. Then you just keep walking into traffic on the other side. Call it J. People get run over. People get killed. And a lot of people from third world countries walk into traffic. And a lot of people, Democrats, they're all Democrats, walk into traffic that are Native Americans too. So here is the story from The Guardian, which is not even an American newspaper. And the headline is, "I'm walking here," right? That's, it's an old thing from Midnight Cowboy and an old movie from long ago.
They gotta have some kind of middleman.
Ratso
And that's
Rizzo.
where Daniel comes in, you know what I mean? I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
I'm walking here. He almost got run over, and the guy's honking and stuff. And Ratso Rizzo, he's walking in Trev, and he's a junkie, and he's about to die and everything. But never mind that. The headline is, "I'm walking here, jaywalking legalized in New York City." That ought to make things better. That should make traffic flow better. That should make everybody happier. That'll mean fewer horns and fewer ambulances showing up to get the people run over by buses and things. New law letting people cross the street outside of a crosswalk ends racial disparities in enforcement. Council members say there are racial disparities. The Associated Press actually wrote the story, and this is pretty amazing. Jaywalking, right? The time-honored practice of crossing the street outside of the crosswalk or against the traffic light is now legal in New York City. Legislation passed by the city council last month officially became law over the weekend after the city's mayor, Eric Adams, isn't he under indictment for bribery and stuff? Oh, yes, he is. But that's only because he angered the Biden administration by talking about all the illegal aliens they've dumped in New York City and the tens, hundreds of millions it's costing them. But never mind that. Eric Adams declined to take action either by signing or vetoing it after 30 days. Therefore, it became law automatically. Council member Mercedes Narcisse, a Brooklyn Democrat who sponsored the legislation, said that the new law ends racial disparities in enforcement. Maybe there are racial disparities in jaywalking. You ever think of that? Kind of like in murder, noting that more than 90% of the jaywalking tickets issued last year went to Black or Latino people. Well, were 90% of the people jaywalking Black or Latino people? Because I think that would be an important consideration when you're looking at that. But that ought to make things better. Now that they got all these illegal aliens, you got to make what is illegal legal, right? Make pot legal, make prostitution legal, make jaywalking legal. They should make fentanyl and cocaine legal, and then everything will be better.
You're a prostitute.
Yes, as it turns out, yes, there are a great many. Democrats, they want to unionize and legalize. They call them sex workers now. And there's that workers thing again. That's that Soviet lexicon that the left is using. Just amazing stuff. The new law permits pedestrians to cross a roadway at any point, including outside of a crosswalk. It also allows for crossing against traffic signals and specifically states that doing so is no longer a violation of the city's administrative code. All right, well, there you go. They should make shooting people legal, and then the Democrats will never get in trouble. That's pretty good stuff. Smoking dope and doing coke and being prostitutes. Oh, yeah, shoplifting is legal up to $950, and go in with 10 of your friends, and you can shoplift here for $950. Take the stuff to your limousine, then go to the store next door, go to Louis Vuitton over here. That's why they call it Louis Vuitton now. And you steal $950 worth of stuff and leave, and that's legal. Then go to Loot Loot Lemon. Go to Loot Loot Lemon, steal $950 worth of stuff, and that's legal, right? Go to a gas station, steal everything they have on their shelves, and that's legal. Go to the bodega run by the little immigrant guy, steal everything he's got. As long as it's not over $950, that's legal. Because the Democrats this is how they ask for your vote. Isn't it amazing? Now, you may have noticed that yesterday was Halloween. And in my neighborhood in Washington, D.C., it's actually a great Halloween neighborhood. It's a great house. A lot of the houses in our neighborhood really dress up to the hilt, to the nines, for Halloween and put the big, things in front of their house with big ghosts and skeletons and what do they call those things with the fan on the bottom that blow up like the socks? Sky dancers. And they got all those things and scary spider webs and scary music. And my neighborhood is great. People come to my neighborhood from around the city for trick-or-treating with their kids, and it's very nice. But not every place is the same. And there are a lot of Democrats out there, and they're not nice. They're not nice people. They're not good people. But a friend of mine who's in law enforcement, he's in law enforcement in Pennsylvania, and he's got a son, as a lot of people do. And his son was out trick-or-treating with his friends last night. And his son and his friends dressed as Donald Trump and Secret Service agents, right? They dressed as Donald Trump, and one of the kids dressed as Donald Trump, and then his friends dressed as Secret Service agents, and they're going trick-or-treating. And there was an angry woman, a crazy woman, who's a Democrat. She's a Democrat. You can tell by her house and her attire and her hygiene, always signs. And the lady refused to give them candy because it was Donald Trump and Secret Service agents and the humorless old bat. Was she dressed as a bat? She should have been dressed as a bat, as a Wuhan bat. She should be dressed as a bat from communist China, from Wuhan. Yeah, and the mean lady wouldn't give the kids any candy because they're dressed as Donald Trump and Secret Service agents. Maybe the Donald Trump character should have put blood on his ear. Then maybe she'd like it better. And this is in Pennsylvania, where Donald Trump was shot through the ear by a Democrat suicide attacker. Oh, yeah, I forgot another suicide attacker. That's another suicide attacker. Because the Democrats, they're not good people. They're not good neighbors. They're not good citizens. They're not good voters. They're just not good, are they? They're jaywalkers. They're dope smokers. They're prostitutes. And they're customers of prostitutes, too. Womp, womp, womp. I got to tell you. And they're transgender people that look for jobs at Hooters because the Democrats are really making everything better, aren't they? Extraordinary. Now, here's a story. The Daily Mail has the story out of the United Kingdom, but the Washington Post does not. And it's kind of an amazing story. Trans woman, that means man, sues Hooters. Got some sleazy Democrat lawyer. They're suing Hooters. The Hooters, they're restaurants. They, delicious food at a fair price. And trans woman sues Hooters, meaning man sues Hooters, after they, quote, refused to hire her, end quote. They refused to hire her. But it's a he, and you can tell by looking at him. So suing a transgender woman, meaning a man, is suing a Hooters franchise that for discrimination after they, because that's a pronoun now, allegedly refused to hire her, meaning him, based on, quote, her image, meaning his image. Brandy Livingston, not the birth name, has been a regular at the restaurant, famed for its scantily clad waitresses, on Wolf Road in Colony, a suburb of Albany, New York. With career aspirations of working at the chain, aim high, Brandy, aim high. Livingston applied 3 times for listings, but she was unsuccessful, meaning he was unsuccessful, according to her, meaning him. And speaking with News 10 there in Albany, said that she, meaning he, was not respected as a woman because he's a man, at the establishment, alleging the workers actively discriminated against her, meaning him. Turns out that he hung out there for a long time when he was a he before he became a she in the eyes of Democrats, and that he would harass the women who are working at the Hooters and say ridiculous things to the women, and then he became a she and applied for a job at Hooters, and they said, I don't think we're going to hire you because, we've got an image here, and you're not exactly that image. Also, the Hooters people say that she, when she was a he, threatened to go to a gun range for practice for the next time you come to the restaurant. All right? So that's why he wasn't hired, but now he's got a Democrat lawyer, and he's suing Hooters because Hooters wouldn't hire her. I feel like sending a gift package to a Hooters somewhere. Wah, wah, wah. He denies saying that, but the waitresses there say, oh, no, yeah, talking about going to the gun range and then coming back for the next time you, talking to the waitresses, come to the restaurant. So Creepy Boy wants a job at Hooters. This is what Democrats have done to everything.
Why are you always on about women, Stan? I want to be one. What? I want to be a woman. From now on, I want you all to call me Loretta.
And I've got a lot of great stuff coming up for you. J.D. Vance with Joe Rogan. Republicans winning the normal gay guy vote has got the Democrats having a hissy once again. Right now, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Matt calling from Stafford, Virginia. Matthew, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Just great, Matt. What do you know?
So I'm in a situation that I never thought I'd be in. My wife worked for this huge company, worked there 21 years. She just lost her job this morning.
Wow.
And the bigger part of this is she got laid off because she was a rep for a company out of Pennsylvania, which was union run. Okay, this manufacturing company was the largest employer of an entire town. And for the last few years that, she'd tell me about her work, they're messing up stuff at the factory, they're manufacturing junk, and there's really nothing you can do because of the unions. And I know unions seem to love Democrats, or the Democrats love unions. I'm not sure why, but this plant got shut down. This whole town is going to be unemployed, and I don't understand the point of a union. We live in Virginia. We're a non-union state.
Mm-hmm.
But just based on the way the unions ran this company or allowed this factory to run, they're putting a whole town out of business right before an election. And it makes me wonder, what are people going to do when a whole town goes out of business?
Yeah, and you're right.
And help them.
The election in 4 days, and that's what the media tells us. It's a key swing state. You have to win Pennsylvania. And so the news media is going to bury the story, too. And I sense that you don't want to tell me the name of the company or the town, and that's fine. But the reason the Democrats and the unions are in bed together is because of money and power. Money, power, and corruption. It's the union leadership. It's not the rank-and-file union members by any stretch, but it's about money and power.